Hi everyone, it's Stella back with another video. Today is the 4th of December, making it almost a month since my last video. I have been really busy in that time because, as some of you might remember if you've seen my previous videos, I left my job about 3 months ago, and since then I've been trying to find another one. But around here there really isn't any jobs going, so I've kind of taken matters into my own hands and started my business back up selling paper cuts, which I thought, yeah, that'll be fine, it will start off slow. It hasn't. I have spent a lot of time paper cutting, which I didn't expect, and with my migraines, I can only cut for about 10 minutes at a time, with about a half-hour break in between. So I've spent a lot of time sitting on the sofa doing nothing for half an hour, and the rest of the time I seem to be paper cutting. I've got one here to show you, which is an order ready to be framed. Here is a paper cut of mine. They are hand cut from paper with a scalpel. So as you can imagine, they do take a lot of time to do, and one that I've just finished took me a week. Which is over the other side of the room and I can't bother to go and get it. I will try and insert a picture of it. It's really nice, it's Beauty and the Beast, and it's very detailed, and it caused a fair few migraines. So I haven't been stitching as much as I'd like. I also have to confess that I've only worked on 2 of the whips that I had during my last video, one of which is now finished, and I've got 2 new starts, which I said wouldn't happen, and it did. I didn't think it would happen until January, so naughty me, slap on the wrist. So I'll start off by showing you technically the only whip that I technically have from last time. If I show you a picture, I've got pictures on my iPad. I did take pictures on my phone just after the last video, but I broke that phone, and I thought I was going to get the same phone back because I had it sent off to be repaired. I completely smashed the screen on it, and they sent me a new one, which was very nice of them, but I lost all of my pictures. Oh, there we go. There's a picture of the phone. I walked past this sofa when I got up in the morning. I chucked it on the sofa. There was nothing else on the sofa, just a sofa, and it did that to my screen. So there was about 20 minutes of shouting and swearing, and then I had it booked in within about half an hour of me doing it, because it's like my right arm, that poor phone. So they sent me a brand new one, which was very nice of them, but I did lose all of the pictures that I'd taken for this video. So pictures, there we go. So here's a picture of roughly of the last time you saw the peacock. So I had most of a tail. I haven't done any Krennicky bits since, because I really didn't want to. I really don't like Krennic. Here is what it will look like when it's finished. Oh, the glare from the laptop screen. You can kind of see it there. And then here is it now. Oh, I should have unrolled it a bit. So I've done a little bit of gold. Well, so I think that's Krennic. Yes, that's Krennic. So I've done a little bit of the brown and goldy bits here. And I've done all of the neck that's on there. Valentine, get down. So I've done all of this bit, which I did in about 2 days. And I've done this bit here as well. And I was going quite well with it. And then I had some stash turn up and I had to start the new ones. Valentine, come on. The cat wants to say hello. I thought if I fed them before I did the video, then they'd leave me alone, but that didn't work out quite as well as I planned. So that's my Majestic Peacock by Anchor. Since the stash turned up for some other projects, I have, well, for a project, I haven't touched it. It has been sat on my floor stand behind the sofa, and it's only been moved to get to stuff that's behind the sofa, which is Christmas presents. So I should really be a little better and force myself to do it. But then I've got so I think I've been really stupid in starting new projects because all the others are just getting pushed to one side. For instance, the Happy Families, was it called? My Owl Families that I was doing last time, that hasn't been touched. I don't think that's been touched since the last video, if I'm honest. No, it hasn't, because it was on my Q-Snap, and then I had Doc McStuffins on my Q-Snap, and then I had one of my new starts on the Q-Snap, and then my other new start on the Q-Snap, and nothing's been on the Q-Snap since then, because I'm trying to get that one done for January. So, yeah. So I don't think they're going to be touched until well into the new year now. So what else do I have? I have my other, which was a whip, and is now a finish. It's a cat hair on it. Let's find a picture of it, and it was Doc McStuffins. So that's what it should look like when it's finished. And then somewhere, I believe that's where it was last time you saw it. That is the closest picture I could find anyway to what it was like last time you saw it. I actually finished it the same day as I did the last video, which was quite impressive. So here is Doc McStuffins, all finished and looking lovely. So it just needs to be framed, and then it'll be given to my daughter for Christmas for her new bedroom. So I was quite impressed with that one. It didn't take me very long to do. The Clouds Factory don't normally take that long to do, if I'm honest. And then we've got one of my new starts, which I feel is going to go on forever. But I started that one on Halloween, and I only remember that because I was waiting for people to knock on the door, and we had 2 people turn up together, and so I ended up getting a little bit fat eating all the sweets after. And so I must have finished that. I'm sure it was the 5th of December that I did the last video. So that's that one, my only finish. And then we have 2 new starts. So the first new start is this one. Oh god, it's fraying all everywhere. I didn't even sort the edges before I started it. So this new start is the Autumn Owl by, oh god, I can't remember her name. It's a Heaven and Earth Designs. I'll put a link in the box below. But that is what she should look like when she's finished. Me and Sean have named her Olivia, as it was the only nice name that we could think of for a girl that began with O. Oh, it's not very high up. There we go. That began with O. So she's called Olivia Owl, and she hasn't been touched for a while. I started this one on the 13th of November, and I only remember that because of the terrible Paris bombings. And I was actually watching the Sky News as it all happened while stitching it. And that's the only reason I can remember the start date, and I don't think the start date for this is ever going to leave my memory. So, funny story about this one. It's on, oh god, what count is it on? Valentine, get down. Hang on. Oh god. I can't remember what count it's on. Valentine. Hang on. I've got it here somewhere. It is on, I think it's on 25 count, or is it 28 count? It's on here. No, it's not going to load. Oh, it's loading. Oh, Michelle Saeta. I think that's how you say it. That's who the Autumn Owl's by. 25 count fabric. So I'm doing it over one. It's the smallest I have ever stitched in my life, and I thought that if I did if I did 2 over 1, it wouldn't be very good coverage. No, if I did 10th stitch 2 over 1, I didn't think it'd be very good coverage. So I did 2 over 1 full crosses, and it drove me insane because although my eyesight's perfectly fine, I do still wear glasses to help with eye strain and things because I do a lot of cross stitch and paper cutting and everything else. And even with my glasses, which have got extra magnification, I was struggling to see it. And it was really bulky, and it was hard to try and get the stitches in next to other stitches. And I did about 250 stitches, and it took me about 4 or 5 hours. And then I spoke to Sian and found out that she was doing one on, I think it was 25 or 28 count, and she was doing it 2 over 1 10th stitch. And so I decided to spend 2 hours ripping it out and starting it again, which was interesting. But I did manage still to get about 900 stitches in that day. So I've almost finished 2 columns of the first page because I'm parking it. And here it is so far. I have got a teeny weeny bit of the owl here. I have to excuse the messy extra threads. But there's 9 colours in that little bit of owl alone. The rest of it, I think there's only 5 colours in it so far. It's one of the quick stitches, so it's not as bad. Not that I've ever done another Heaven and Earth design, but I'd imagine it's not as bad. But since my other new start, this one hasn't been touched, which I'm quite sad about because I did enjoy doing it. But the other one I need to try and kind of get done by the 1st of January. So once that's done, this would be partially back on the Q-snap, or I could just go and buy another Q-snap, but that would be the easy way of doing things, wouldn't it? Oh, my coffee. I'll cover my mug because I don't want to offend anyone. It says something quite rude because I used to be an Ann Summers rep. It just so happened to be the first mug that I chose today, of all days. Right, so my other, oh god, the other cat's here now. My other new start is the Magical Creatures calendar, which I'm doing as, I'm part of a stitch along on Facebook that Adele, I want to say McNaughton, set up. And as a group, they decided that we could do the border before we started, so that each month we've just got to do the month and no border, which I thought was actually a really, really good idea. So I joined in with that, and I'm regretting it as a whole completely already at the moment. It has been really, really slow progress. And you'd think the border wouldn't be that difficult. It doesn't even look that difficult until you stitch it. And I don't think it's not so much difficult. It's not hard to do. It's all full stitches. It's just, I suppose it's boring and frustrating. The 4 corners are the worst. One of the corners has taken me nearly a week. But I have finished the top 2 corners now, so I can work all the way down, and then which should be fairly easy, and not so, well, it'll be a bit mind-numbing, but it won't be so irritating until I get to the bottom, and then I'll just have the 2 corners to do, and it'll be finished in theory. So, or the border will. The rest of it's going to be really good fun, and I know that. It's just trying to do the border. So here is the Magical Creatures calendar by Clouds Factory. You should be able to see that. So as you can see, the border doesn't even look that difficult. And it's all in one colour. It's just mind-numbing. So there's that one. And then here it is at the moment. So I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see all that. So the two top corners took probably, well, in comparison, the two top corners probably took about 1,000,000 times more longer than the rest of it did. But I finished this top corner last night and started this bit, which will be finished tonight. And then it's fairly plain sailing then until we get near the bottom. And I just realised it's not very central on the fabric. Never mind, I've probably put the fabric the wrong way round or something. So that's that. The fabric it's on is called, I believe it's called Metamorphic, and it's by Chromatic Alchemy, and it's a 16 count Ada. It is really, really pretty. I don't think the camera really, no, the camera on my laptop doesn't really give it justice. But it is an absolutely gorgeous fabric, and I'm hoping to buy some more of it in the new year. I will buy some more of it in the new year because it is absolutely gorgeous. And one of my friends, she'd never heard of hand-dyed fabric before, and she just or pretty much always works on kits. But she does do a lot of stitching. She's got 5 or 6 on the go at the moment. But she's been on Chromatic Alchemy yesterday, and she's earmarked loads to buy after Christmas. So she did think about doing the stitch along with us, but because she's got so many on the go, and I want to say she's a nursery nurse. She works with children, and she's just got into a new relationship, and she might be moving quite a fair way from Fleet to Crewkerne, or the Crewkerne area, which is probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. So she's got plenty on at the moment, rather than worrying about another new start. I have got a list here somewhere. I feel like I've forgotten a few things. I haven't forgotten any stitches because I haven't really done a huge amount. Aha! Right, so I did have stash, but it was all threads and nothing interesting. In fact, it was the threads and the even weave for the autumn owl, and I think that's it. But I went into the 99p shop the other day in Yeovil, and I found this, which is a Christmas card, two Christmas card set. It's got it's got the pattern in it for both. It's got the cards, which aren't very good quality. But I thought for 99p, I'll give it a go. But what really annoyed me is, of all things, it's perfectly good kit. What really annoyed me is there was nowhere to open it, so I had to rip it. There wasn't a seam or a bit where it had been stuck down. It was just completely sealed, so I had to rip it, which really annoyed me. But I have started one of them. I've started the Santa. God, there's thread everywhere. So I haven't really done much of it. I'll probably be ready for next Christmas at this rate. The Ida's fantastic. It's a bit stiff or whatever, but it's for 99p. It's an okay kit. I'd go and buy another one or two for next year. I don't really see the point in spending a fortune if you're going to buy a kit for Christmas cards. I don't see the point in spending a fortune on it because you don't know whether it's going to get thrown in the bin, really. So I thought I'd give it a go, and it was pretty good. If I go back again and they've got some more, I'll buy some more ready for next year. I was planning on making a load of Christmas cards this year, and you know it's not going to happen when you go shopping and you buy Christmas cards and then sit and write them all out, including for the people that those two were supposed to be for, which was a really good idea. So they'll be done next year, hopefully. Another thing that I was going to talk to you about is the app called Foxit. I think it's called Foxit. Now I've said that. I have always Foxit PDF. I have always printed my patterns, or if I get a kit, then I photocopy it and print it, and then mark it all off by hand. And I'd heard people talking about these apps, and I think it was Teresa Little Stitcher that said about Foxit PDF, and I've heard about it before. I never really paid much attention, and so I thought, well, I'll check it out. So I downloaded it. There's the other cat. Downloaded, I think it was Autumn Owl, onto it, and fell in love with it. And so now the patterns that I have digitally, I'm going to use Foxit for. I'm using Foxit so far for the Autumn Owl and the Magical Creatures. I always want to say Majestic, that's because the peacock. And the Magical Creatures calendar. Just watching what the cat's doing because there's paper cut on the sofa. And it's really good. The only thing that I've found, and I don't know if anyone else has found it, but once you've got loads marked off, so with my Autumn Owl, although there's not a huge amount of it done, which is what worries me about the app, the more you mark off, the slower it gets, and it seems to take longer for me to mark it off than it does to stitch it with the Autumn Owl at the moment. And because I'm doing a tent stitch, it's quite quick to stitch, and so you're stitching away. You do one colour because I'm doing tent stitch, and then you go and mark it off, and it takes 20 minutes to mark it off. Whereas with the Magical Creatures calendar, it marks off almost instantly. But I would imagine the same thing's going to happen the more that I mark off. I would imagine. So if it's just me, let me know. If it's not just me, let me know. I have tried deleting the app and reinstalling it, and I've forced restart on my iPad, which I think is only an Apple thing. Not the iPad, obviously the iPad is, but the forced restart. I've tried that. That didn't work. So if you have any ideas, that would be really helpful. Because it is a little bit frustrating when you spend more time trying to mark things off than you do stitching. And the only thing left to talk to you about is a Christmas present from Shan. I showed you on the last video the lovely Christmas presents. Then I was going to say cross-stitch presents. They were cross-stitch presents, but the lovely birthday presents that Shan sent me. And then I realised afterwards I showed you all of them, apart from one. Although technically I did show it to you because it was on my Q-snap. But I was planning on showing it to you properly, and then I completely forgot. So here it is. It is my grime guard for my 11x11 Q-snap. And it's upside down. And it has lovely owls on it. Isn't that gorgeous? And she has a matching one too, I noticed the other day on one of her videos. So we have like cute little matching grime guards. It's the first grime guard I've ever had. I haven't had my Q-snap for long, to be fair. I did have a Q-snap years ago. I didn't realise I just thought it was something my mate had made. My mate an old friend of mine, gave it to me, and I just assumed it was something that she'd made, and I thought it was a really clever idea. But that was as far as it went. And when we moved house, just after, well, I say just after, nearly a year after our daughter was born, it must have got thrown out, and it had a whip on it at the time as well that was nearly finished. It just needed the name backstitched at the bottom because it was a birth sampler, and the whole thing must have got thrown out, and I wasn't very happy about that. So yeah, this is the first grime guard I've ever had. It's really good. I do like it. But I find that I cannot use it with my Autumn Owl, and I think that is because of where it comes to on the frame. So it comes quite high up, and with the grime guard on it, I find that I have to kind of hold it out of the way, like back and front, whilst I stitch it. So I did originally start the Autumn Owl with it on, but I've taken it off for the time being. But as I get further down and it's not so close to the edge, I think it'll be fine. It's just that I haven't actually put it on with the Magical Creatures calendar, which should be fine now because I've done the top bit, so it doesn't have to be so close to the top. Pardon me, in theory. So yes, I can't believe I forgot to show you that. And it's got owls on it as well. How could I forget to show you something with owls on it? Bad, Stella. So I think that is everything for now. Mummies, what are you doing? Come over here. Right over here. Oh, not on the paper cut. Oh, this is the problem with having cats. They just interrupt everything. So yeah, I think that's everything. I don't think I've got anything else. If you're gonna come down, come down. Because I don't want you to hurt damage the paper cut. Yeah, that is everything. So I'm going to love you and leave you. It will probably be after Christmas now before I get another video out. I would imagine, because I'm going to be really, really busy the next few weeks. It may even be the new year. Hopefully, next time I see you, I'm going to have lots and lots of progress. Because I'm planning on spending Christmas cross-stitching. Once I've got the paper cuts done that have to be done by Christmas, I've then got Christmas to do whatever I fancy, really. So hopefully Christmas is going to be spent cross-stitching, in theory. So that is everything. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you end of December, beginning of January. Happy stitching!